Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vista Sports Page podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Stone, and joining me today is a stud wrestler from the UCO team, Dayton Garrett, a junior in school. On the team, he's a redshirt sophomore. Dayton, we brought you on today because, like I said, you're a stud. But I just want to kind of hear about what has been your personal experience as a student athlete overall.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I actually started off wrestling at West Virginia University, Division I.
Dang.
And there, it was a little different. It was a little higher expectations. You're held to a lot of different things. You have a lot of obligations, right? And I didn't feel there that it was a place that I could be successful with just some stuff that was going on outside of the wrestling room.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to come back here and wrestle with some of the kids that I grew up wrestling with, and it's been great. Our team's tough. We have tough guys at every weight. It's a tough room. We all grew up wrestling together. The coaches are great. They care about us other than just being the athletes. It's not as much of a business as it is maybe some other schools.
Yeah, so that is a big problem in Division I see.
Yeah, we're real tight-knit here. I feel like the team gets along real well, and it's great. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better place to be, for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've heard a lot of great things about UCO wrestling. I mean, just record-wise and the history of the program, they've done a lot of winning. One thing I want to ask is, I mean, being a student athlete, everybody knows that there's an extra workload. You got to go to practice and you got to go to class. But as a wrestler, you're also cutting weight here and there. So yeah. I mean, would you say that's maybe an excuse, or would you say that's an added pressure of kind of like you're sitting in class, you maybe got that 8 a.m. or something like that. You just got done with weight. You're like, I'm hungry, man. Like I can't even drink cold water. Like I'm trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
Like so, if you're gonna complain or make an excuse, now is the time we like to hear about that. Maybe people will hear you out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that being a wrestler, cutting weight's just part of it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of something you have to deal with, and wrestling's a sport where it's not just in the room, right? So when you leave the room, it's still you're in training mode. It's a difference between practicing and training, right? So practicing, you show up and you practice. Wrestling, you're training all the time. So that's with your diet, your sleep, and it is hard to balance that, but then again, it's just what comes with the territory.
Yeah, that is one thing I've noticed, because I've never wrestled myself. I've had lots of friends that wrestled, and I grew up, I don't know if you know the Duncan Comanche area. That's a big it's a big rivalry, and that's kind of the main export. One of the main exports is wrestling. Duncan and Comanche go back and forth with state championships every year. So I know a lot of kids, but the kids that were good and that really stuck with it were the kids that started wrestling when they were like 3 and 4 years old. I mean, this is a lifetime commitment, and if you've ever watched one of those, Road to the Fights on like Showtime or HBO before a big boxing fight or before a big UFC match, it speaks to exactly what you said, and it's kind of a lifetime, commitment to that. Like if you're gonna do it professionally, you gotta commit your life to it. And also the thing is, there really technically is no professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's another hard thing to do. So kind of dive into that a little bit. What's kind of, I gotta say, like, what's your average week schedule like during a regular classes, and you got wrestling practice and maybe a duel that week, or maybe a tournament or something like that?
Yeah. So week to week, it varies a little bit. Wrestling's kind of a weird sport because we have duels and tournaments. And our training schedule is kind of based off of what we have that week. But our main practice every day is at 2:00, and then 2 days a week we'll lift in the mornings. And so usually in the morning I usually get up between 5 and 6, usually most days, just to get my day started a little earlier, and then get maybe a light workout in on the mornings we don't have lift, maybe go for a little run or anything just to get my weight down, breakfast, and then class until noon, and then practice at 2, and then study hall in the evening, and then maybe another workout in the evening a couple days a week. So.
And I mean, your class schedule, do you get to kind of pick what classes you can to best fill in the cracks of wrestling, or do your coaches like, okay, you've got to take these classes at this time so that we know for sure that you're available?
Yeah.
And we also know for sure like how to keep a gauge on your workload as well.
Yeah, so we have to take at least 12 hours just like everybody else, and then our classes are supposed to be from between 8 and 1. So we can make the morning lifts if we need to, or we can be at practice at 2. Yeah.
And I'm sure for athletes, I'm sure they make a few exceptions here and there to make sure that you can do both. Not only do what you love, but also do what you came here to do and get your education and your degree.
Yeah.
So to wrap that up, just on a personal question. So regionals are coming up the team is leaving Thursday. Said they're going to wrestle on Saturday. But you personally, you said you have an injury.
Yeah.
So a little bit about that. You're not going to be going. So how have you been dealing with kind of the stresses of deciding that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and forego the rest of my season? I'm a redshirt sophomore, so I've got 2 years, 2.5 with the redshirt. But how did you decide to go ahead and skip out on that and do the surgery and really take care of your body versus going out there and trying to maybe hurt yourself or even win and be able to say, yeah, I did it while I was hurt?
Okay. Yeah, so this is actually, the whole injury thing has been actually really hard on me. It's probably been one of the toughest things I've had to go through mentally mainly.
Would you say even tougher than transferring, just to kind of
probably. So I actually tore my labrum in my shoulder right as the beginning of the season was going, right? So I was like, right off the bat, I was like, kind of like, okay, like, what are we going to do here?
Yeah.
Just kind of worried. Talked with the coaches, practiced, and took a little bit of time off competing, and decided that we were going to try to get through the season and just maintain, right?
Yeah, that's just great.
With
right
wrestling,
there.
injuries happen.
Yeah.
I've wrestled with injuries before, so I was just like, we're going to push through it. As the season went on, I just kind of felt like I wasn't in tune with myself. I didn't feel the strength I usually felt. I just didn't feel right in certain positions. And as it just got worse and I had a couple little other injuries, I was just decided that I wasn't going to be able to compete to the level that I'm used to competing at and the level that I needed to be able to compete at to reach the high goals I'd set for myself.
I think that's pretty important because, wrestling, it is technically a team sport, but whenever you're out there and you're actually, fighting your matches or you're having your personal duels, it's mano a mano, and, the ref might help you out here and there, but really it's all about what the training and the practice that you versus the guy that's standing in front of you has gone through. Sure. And so I think that not knowing if you're going to be at your best or not feeling like you're going to be at your best, you're already at a disadvantage. So I think, to help the team, for the team sport of things, I think he made the right decision.
Yeah, for sure. And we, like I said, we have a tough room, right?
Yeah.
So Ty Lucas he's going to regionals for us this weekend, 157, and he's a tough dude, man. I think he's got a shot. I think he's going to be a national qualifier, and I think he has a great chance to All-American. He's a real tough kid. So
that's awesome, man. Well, good luck to you, man. Good luck to
Appreciate
you next season.
Good
luck to the guys, going into regionals. Thank you all for listening. This has been the Vista Sports Page podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Stone. Join us next week, and thank you for watching this week.